I'd like to ask Nick and Steve both about the hire. Nick, a couple years ago when you were on your book tour, you talked about the possibility of getting back to the NHL. Why is now the right opportunity for you to join the Red Wings? And Steve, why was now the right time for you to bring Nick back into the organization?
Nick, I'll start. Brad, first off, Nick and I, we had a chance to talk a little bit at the Hall of Fame induction in Toronto. And then when Nick returned to Sweden after that trip, we talked a little bit more about him getting back into hockey. And for myself, it was a great opportunity. With his career being a Red Wing his entire career, I thought it was very important for us. I thought it was a good thing for Nick if he wanted to get back in to come and join us. Obviously, I played with him for the majority of his career, and we had a lot of success together. And I not only relied on him to lead us on the ice, he was always a great teammate and resource for me as the captain of the team to bounce ideas, whatever they may be, on ice, off ice things off of Nick. And he was a tremendous voice of reason for me. So for the Detroit Red Wings, it was an opportunity not only to bring a former great player in, but a first-class person with great character and tremendous knowledge and a wealth of knowledge of the game. So for me, it was a very easy decision and a great opportunity. I know Nick will add tremendous value to our organization.
Yeah, first of all, I'm super excited to be back with the Wings again. And Steve and I, like Steve mentioned here, we've had discussions over the last month and a half or so about me joining the team again. And it's been on my mind, to be quite honest, too, for a little bit of time. I wanted to get back and get involved with hockey again, and especially with the Wings. And when the opportunity presented itself, I thought it was good timing for me, for my family to join the Wings again. So I'm really excited when I have this opportunity to join the team again, or the organization again, I should say.
We can do the team thing too, if you want to talk about that.
Next, we'll go to Helene St. James, Detroit Free Press.
Hi, Steve. What will Nick's duties be?
Well, he'll be involved in all aspects of hockey operations. Whether it's our job ultimately is watching hockey, whether it's the Detroit Red Wings, the Grand Rapids Griffins, pro hockey in North America and Europe, amateur hockey. I'd like Nick. We've talked about it, and I'd like him to be involved in every aspect of it. He can be a resource not only for myself, for Sean Horkoff, Danny Cleary, Nick Cronwell, who will oversee our player development, for our coaching staff here in Detroit, for our coaching staff in the American League, can be a resource in all aspects to provide his insight, his opinions, just from watching, from viewing and getting to know our organization, but also knowing players all around the world. So yeah, again, he'll be involved in all aspects of me doing my job of being in charge of running the Detroit Red Wings.
He'll still be based in Sweden.
Correct. Yes, Nick will live in Sweden, and he'll organize his schedule as he sees fit. He'll have all the critical dates and important goings on, and really get an opportunity to decide for himself where he feels most comfortable and what he wants to do. But again, we encourage him and have asked him to get involved in every aspect of it. And typical of Nicklas, he's very humble. He's going to quietly go about his business and do his job. And one thing I do know after being around him and playing with him for such a long time, he knows the game. He knows hockey players, and for all of us in the organization to be able to pick his brain, to ask his opinion, and get his viewpoint on whatever it is we're doing, it's a tremendous resource for us.
So do you add the perfect vice president to his title, or?
That remains to be seen. He had to earn the other one. He just wasn't given it as the perfect human being. Now he's got to earn that one. I'm sure he will.
Nicklas, what have you thought of the team? I know you were in Detroit earlier in the season. What have you thought of the team as a whole, and maybe specifically Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider?
Well, I've seen progress throughout the season so far. Looking back to different season last year, but I've seen progress in this year's team. I watched not every game, but bits and pieces of games, and I've seen the improvement in all aspects of whether it's goaltending or defense or the forwards. I think we've seen progress, and that goes to the new guys, the two rookies that you mentioned, and Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider. They've added right away. They stepped in and played well for the team, and I think that shows that the team and we're on the right track. We're doing things to get better, and those young players will help us.
And okay, last question for me. How soon do you get Holmstrom on board?
Homer, I think we'll leave aside to start with anyways. Well, it
Thanks
might
a lot.
be easiest that way.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to answer Khan. I'm live.
Yeah, hi, Nick. Just you obviously had tremendous success with the Wings over your 20 years. And how much pride would you take in helping, having a part in restoring the franchise to prominence?
I think we all want to see the team and the organization make progress and become better and start making the playoffs again. So I think that's a goal for everyone. And if I can be a small piece of helping out in different areas, or whether it's in amateur scouting or watching the prospects that we have here in Europe and overseas in the US and Canada as well, but just help in and chip in to help out to make this team better again.
Is there any one particular aspect of your job that you're looking forward to the most? Looking at scouting prospects, player development, anything in particular?
I think just getting involved again, and being here in Sweden, I'm going to be following the European prospects a little bit closer than the North American ones. But I'm looking forward to seeing the development in players like Simon Edmondson or Albert Johansson, players that we have drafted that are playing in the Swedish elite league here, SHL, and see them make progress. But at the same time, I want to see the team, the Red Wings, make progress as well. So I'm looking forward to a lot of different aspects of this game.
And just your thoughts on just the importance, the growing importance of the draft. I know, obviously back in the day, the Wings would make huge splashes in free agency and trades, but now how important it is to draft and develop players. Just your thoughts in that area.
I think it's very important. Looking at how hard it is to sign free agents with a salary cap, finding players and developing players is key. Looking at the team we have on the ice right now, you have two young players that stepped in and made the contributions right away, and that's what you want. It's not going to happen to all the draft picks that the team select, but hopefully you'll find the odd player that's ready to step in right away. But development is so big. Such a big key for team success, even looking at other teams as well. Development is such a big part of it now.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Max Boltman, The Athletic.
Hi, Nick. I believe you did a little bit of scouting for the franchise a while back. I'm just curious what you took away and learned from that experience.
I think it's hard to watch 17-year-olds and to find and see what they're going to be in a couple of years or down the road, 10 years from when they're drafted or looked upon. And that's the hard part. I think you can see the high talent, but if you can find the gems that are in the rounds, maybe 5 through 7, where it's not as easy to select players that you hopefully will and one day will make it to the NHL. So it's hard. It's hard to find talent where there's so many players, so many good players around.
And then how closely have you been around or watched, or I don't know, maybe even spoken to some of those prospects that are over in Sweden? I know you mentioned Edvinsson and Johansson, but all those guys over there.
Well, since we recently, came through with a deal, Steve and I had the chance to watch Albert Johansson play last week. But this is so new and fresh for me, so I'll start now by watching more games and follow more games live as well.
And then last thing for me, I know you talked about just wanting to get back into it and be around again. Do you remember what do you think it was that kind of sparked that in you to really want to do that right now?
I think where I'm at in with my family and everything, the kids are getting older. I want to get involved with hockey a little bit more than I have been. And I thought this was a good opportunity to do that for me. I've always loved hockey, always watched the NHL, even since we moved back to Sweden. I try to follow the league, follow the players, and pay close attention to the NHL. So I've always wanted to one day get back into it again.
Thanks very much.
Next we'll go to Bob Duff, Detroit Hockey Now.
Nick, I know when Steve came in, he kind of got involved in every aspect of the team to kind of really learn the business from the ground floor up, sort of in terms of management. Is that kind of the way you view things here? Do you want to kind of dive into a little bit of everything and just kind of learn on the go almost?
Yeah, I just kind of want to get my feet wet here and get to know the organization a little bit more. Then we'll see where that leads me. It's hard to predict now where this all is going to end up. But I wanted to get involved in getting to know the organization, just not from the outside, but get on the inside and we get more knowledge of how everything works. I'm really excited to get this opportunity to do that.
A lot of athletes, when you talk to them after they leave the game, the thing they talk about missing the most is just the chance to compete, and to, play the game. But obviously you're not going to be playing the game, but does this kind of get the fire burning in your belly again to have this opportunity to get involved like this?
Well, maybe not the same way and when you're used to when you were playing, but at least you're part of it. You're not going to be on the ice where you can make a big impact right away. No, you're more watching from the sky, watching from above, but you can have a little bit impact of hopefully developing this team into a contender again. So that's fire, I think, still is in all of us that's been part of hockey.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
Let's go to Ted Colfin, Detroit News.
Hey, Steve, are you at all surprised that there's so many people off that 2002 Hall of Fame team that are in prominent management positions and whatnot? I mean, obviously a lot of strong personalities on that roster, a lot of guys who knew the game. I don't know, anything to that? I mean, there's so many guys that are in, big time positions right now.
Yeah, I don't think I'm really surprised. The majority of that group are really into hockey, like a passion for the game, watching it, being around it. And that shows in them wanting to continue on. There's, a lot of great players when they retire, a lot of hockey players, once they're done, they just want to go on and do something else, have other interests. But with this particular group, with Nick being on board, just the thing within our own organization, having Beaker involved, Sean Horkoff, Chris Draper, amateur scouting. One, they love the challenge. The wins and the losses matter. Two, they're very competitive and they want to be involved. They love the game, and a lot of being in management and coaching. It's not real glamorous. I mean, you all live it in traveling on airplanes and going around, and you really got to love the game to be involved with it. And that group of guys, no, I'm not really surprised, because majority of them really, really into hockey and love being a part of it.
Sounds good. Hey, Nick, so the timing was just right at this point in your, at this point in your life to do this?
Yeah, I felt it was the right time for me to get involved again. My kids are getting older. I got one living at home, but pretty soon he'll be out of the house as well. So I thought this was the right time for me to kind of the next challenge for me to do something different. And I always kept an eye on hockey, like I said earlier, and this was a great opportunity for me to do that.
Sounds good. Welcome back. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Art Regner, DetroitRedWings.com.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Nick. I actually have a question for Nick and a question for Steve. Steve, I guess I'll start with you. How important is it for you specifically with the Red Wings to surround yourself with people that not only know the game and understand the game and have an eye for talent, but actually understand the Red Wing way of life, for lack of a better term, how to do it like the Detroit way?
Well, I think it's number one. I try to hire really good people. I try to hire the best possible hockey minds who have a great work ethic and a real passion for doing the job. The Red Wing way, there's books about every team. I read about the Barcelona way, the Real Madrid way, the Patriots way, and whatnot. Ultimately, we're just trying to find good hockey players. And if you surround yourself with people who really work hard and who are intelligent, you're for the most part, you're going to make good decisions. What I do like is, again, not only with Nicklas, but Chris Draper, Kirk Maltby, all the guys that are here, they have a tremendous work ethic. They have a passion for the game, and they've had a lot of success. And hey, we've all had a lot of disappointments as well. So all that experience, I think, helps us in making the decisions as we move along.
Nick, I'm wondering if you're going to at all be out on the ice. When you look at the current Red Wing prospect pool, with guys that are here already, as far as young defensemen, Lidstrom, obviously Seider, Hronek, and then Edvinsson most likely coming here next year. But there seems to be a wealth of riches, at least prospect-wise, on the blue line. Will you actually do any on-ice coaching? Will we see you out on the ice, perhaps, giving some pointers to these guys, or is it strictly going to be more, off ice, what you're going to end up doing?
Well, we haven't really discussed that deep into detail, but I'll be part of overseeing. If you're talking about the defense, I'll be part of overseeing the defense, looking at things that can help them improve or help them give small tips for them to become better players. And if that might be on the ice, whether at development camp or whatnot, well, that remains to be seen. But I'll be part of watching them play and trying to get to know them away from the rink as well, kind of know their personality, just to help them become better hockey players. So we'll see if that ends up being on the ice as well. But that's something we have to talk about later.
Are you on the ice much these days, or have you stayed off the ice?
In the last year, I haven't been on the ice a whole lot. Played a few charity games here and there, but nothing more than that.
And quickly, have you seen Edvinsson play? Can you give us a brief scouting report on him? Because we're just hearing so many good things about him.
I actually saw him play last season. He played in my hometown, Västerås, for a good 2 months. He was loaned from Frölunda, where he plays now, to my city, to the team here where I live. And I saw him play as a 17-year-old. He was a good skater. He was a long, lanky kid, but you saw the skill that he had, whether it's skating the puck up the ice. And he was playing against men. He was 17 years old and playing against men, and he could handle himself. This season, I've seen him play, taking strides, big strides, to become more of a comfortable player playing against men, but his ice time has increased. He can skate the puck up the ice all by himself. He plays a lot harder in his own zone. So I've seen improvements from him in 1 year. And a lot of things happens when you're 17, 18-year-old. A lot of things is going to develop even more and even better. But I've seen some big steps just from 1 year to another.
Great. Welcome back, Nick. Thank you. And thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
No problem, Art.
Thanks, Art.
Next, we go to Nick Hatzenika, NHL.com.
Hey, Nick, good to see you. I don't know if you can answer this, but I'm just curious if you have any long-term ambitions. Like, I think when Steve, first started out in management, he was learning a lot. A lot of us couldn't have never seen him go anywhere else, but obviously he goes to Tampa, has great success with Team Canada, and comes back to Detroit. I mean, could you see yourself, are you wondering that? Could you be a GM in the NHL or elsewhere? Is that something you're thinking about long-term?
To be honest, Nick, I haven't thought that long-term at all. Now it's just a matter of me getting involved again, getting to know the organization and getting my feet wet and kind of learning as we go here. So I haven't even thought about or even considered, down the road, what's going to happen down the road. I'm just happy that I've stepped into with the Wings again and being involved again. So that's I'm just going to take it from there. So I haven't really given myself any thoughts any further than that.
Sounds good. Thanks. Good to see you.
Thanks, Nick.
Next, we go to Elliot Friedman, Sportsnet.
Steve, this one's more of a general question for you. Your team has really taken a step forward this year, and I just wonder if it has changed your timeline at all for where you think they're going, or just accelerated the plan you have for rebuilding the Red Wings. Thank you.
Elliot, no. nothing's really changed. To be honest with you, I don't really have a timeline. We're just trying to improve each year. We're trying to use the draft and hopefully draft well and definitely use the draft to increase our prospect pool. And we don't have it's too unpredictable to tell when some of these players are going to be ready, whether it's year 1 or year 2 or 3 years from the draft, even 5 years later. So no, things haven't changed. We're pleased with some progress that we've made this season. We have moved not only Lucas Raymond or Moritz Seider, but Michael Rasmussen's playing a bigger role. Joe Veleno is starting to get an increased role. Philip Zadina, Philip Hronek, we're moving more young players into our lineup, and we're going to continue with that plan for the time being. So it really, what's coming up, the trade deadline's coming up, depending on where we are in the standings, you got to make some decisions, but regardless, I don't see us, being really aggressive at the trade deadline. And then, in free agency, I'll take the same approach. If there's a player that can help us, and it might be, be with us in a few years and be a contributor in a few years, we'll try to spend our money and be aggressive when we think it's appropriate. So I know nothing has really changed on the aspect of what we are trying to do, and we're going to stick with it and try to be patient, and ultimately, again, just try to make good decisions, whether it be short-term contracts, long-term contracts.
Thank you.
The last question will be in Swedish from Jan Bengensen from NHL.com.
Ja, hej Niklas. Kan du höra mig? Ja, ja, kul att se dig igen. Du, det här låter lite nästan som någon slags chefscout om du ska stanna kvar i Europa. Eller i Sverige, kan du handskas med det här jobbet från Sverige? Behöver du inte vara mer över i USA? Och har du funderat på att flytta tillbaka?
Jag kommer att basera det här i Sverige och jag kommer att göra ett antal resor varje år över till USA. Men dels kommer det innebära lite amatörscouting, men även våra prospekt som vi har här. Killarna som vi nämnde, Simon Edvinsson, Albert Johansson. Jag kommer att följa de killarna och följa deras utveckling också. Så att det blir en del lite olika saker, inte bara scouting eller med prospekt, men jag kommer även att resa över och vara nära laget och lära känna våra tränare och coacherna där borta för att ge feedback där också. Kommer att ta mycket hjälp av Steve här som vi pratar med också för att komma in i det här jobbet som det här innebär.
Niklas Kronwall, är han kvar i organisationen? Jag blir helt förvirrad här med hans jobb, tänkte jag. Det är ungefär samma sak som jag har förstått, eller?
Ja, det påminner om det. Niklas har mer en utvecklingsroll. Att han är med killarna på isen. Han träffar killarna lite mer och lite mer detaljrik i sin anställning kan man säga, det han gör. Så att det handlar lite mer om att han jobbar rent på utvecklingssidan än scoutar till exempel.
Ja, okej. Det räcker bra för mig. Jag har hört allt det andra också på engelska, så att lycka till.
Bra, tack Janne.
Tack så du ha. Hej.
All right, those are all the questions